Welcome to this new video, and today is a big day because after 10 years I'm finally going to close this damn gate and no longer see cars passing right in front of me. So to attach this 1.5 mm thick sheet metal and close this gate, I'm going to use rivets. You drill, put in the rivet and squeeze it with the pliers. Some people will complain it's ugly. The rivets will be on the house side. From the street, you'll only see the sheet metal and tubes. Rivets are useful because I can simply drill them out to replace the sheet metal if needed. I could weld, but replacing the sheet metal later would mean finding and grinding the welds, which is harder. With rivets, you can just drill them out and remove the sheet easily. For your sheet metal, I'm also going to use AMS polymer, but I'll talk more about that in a moment. And we'll even do a test with a rivet. For those who've never installed a rivet, you'll see it's very simple. We'll do a test on a flat bar that's right here. Alright, I've taken out all my tools, everything is laid out on the table. I'll show you some of them, and for the rest, you'll find all the links in the description. So, we're going to have to drill the sheet metal and the tubes. The Hilti SF4A22 drill, I'm going to drill with a 4mm bit. Since my rivets are 4.14, that'll work. The Hilti AG125 grinder. When it comes to Hilti tools and batteries, you can trust them completely. Here, the 5.2 ampere 22 volt batteries will easily last me the whole day. I've mounted a chuck with an M14 thread on it because for now I'm going to strip the gate. This type of brush is made by 3M. So why strip it? Because it's going to spend a day outside unprotected and some oxidation has formed on it. Since I'm also going to glue the sheet metal with AMS polymer, it needs to stick properly. And then we'll just degrease it with acetone. We'll use locking pliers because under the gate I'm going to put some flat bar scraps and I'll hold them in place with the locking pliers. Then we can put the sheet metal in place without having to hold it at arm's length. We'll use clamps and magnets as well to hold the sheet metal in place. On the street side, and then once we have both sheets, I'll put the magnets back so that everything sits flush. This is my flat bar offcut for testing the all-in-one rivet. It comes in several sizes, the 30-40 ruler, and this one is 15 centimeters, so I think I'll use this one. For those who don't know, it has a 90-degree angle, a 45-degree angle, a level, and a scribing point underneath. The square the ruler slides, for example, if I want to set it to 20 millimeters, I tighten it, take my marker, slide it, and I get my 20 millimeters. That's a great tool. We've covered everything. I'll show you the hand riveter soon and discuss the AMS polymer again. It's a great glue you can even paint. I'll explain more when we use it. Okay, the sheets are cut, the sheets are drilled, they're held in place with magnets and clamps in every direction, but the goal isn't to leave the clamps, it's to put in rivets and also use AMS polymer glue. It will help me with sealing and vibrations because if I don't set a rivet properly and the sheet vibrates, it won't work. But at least with a seal between the sheet and the tube, there won't be any vibrations. So, AMS polymer glue, you have the link in the description. Fisher, bonding and sealing for indoor and outdoor use, can be painted, and it's elastic so it can flex over time, but it can only be painted under certain conditions. Like all glues, whether it's mastic, silicone, AMS polymer, or PU40, there's a slight film that forms on the surface. This film must be wiped with acetone, then primed before painting, especially with solvent-based paints, which I later used for the exterior. If you apply it directly on the AMS polymer joint, it can cause a reaction. So, a wipe with acetone, then the primer, then the paint, and it's good. The Worth Rivet Kit, you can pronounce it however you want. The reference, the link in the description. Let's open it. So I'll try not to spill everything. I promised to pick up all the rivets. There are several sizes. The pliers, they were here, they go in here, but I'll show them to you up close. And we're going to do a test on the scrap flat bar. So a hand riveter, this is what it looks like. A rivet, you put it, if I can find it, against the stop, and now you can press it. So I take the camera, we do a test on the scrap flat bar. I'm going to drill it, we put the rivet in, and you'll see how it gets pressed under the flat iron. You can hold several sheets of metal together, a sheet of metal on a tube, all possible and imaginable applications. And the advantage of the rivet, as I told you earlier, if you need to remove it, you just drill out the rivet and you can detach the metal piece from the tube, whatever you want. You can add another one without causing damage. I'll take the camera and we'll do the test. So here I've set up my assembly. My flat bar is held with the clamps. I'm going to drill, we'll put in the rivet, and you'll see how it works. There are two cameras here, so you can guess who's holding the microphone. We drill, we put in the rivet, and we'll see how it behaves just underneath. We take the hand riveter, the one I showed you earlier. We have several heads, we change them depending on the rivets. I drilled with a 4mm bit, my rivet is 4.1 mm, that's more than enough. We put it in, position it, and squeeze. And that's it. And normally I can retrieve the stem, call it the tail or the stem, whatever you prefer. So that's how you install a rivet, nothing complicated. It sticks out just a little bit, but if I ever need to replace it, I drill it out, remove the rivet, and replace it with another one. And underneath it forms a little ball. Well, it's a disaster, a catastrophe. I made a mistake. I'll explain it to you. Maybe some of you noticed it when I was marking on the sheet metal. The tube. So this is a leftover piece of the tube I welded in the previous video. It's 30 minutes, half of that is 15, and between the halfway point and the edge of the tube, I need 7.5. I drill my sheet metal at 7.5, it lands right over the tube, I can place my rivet. And then, what did I do? Out of carelessness, I wasn't focused, or maybe I'm just plain stupid, I don't know. But I drilled at 15, which means my rivet ends up outside the tube, so it's okay. I've only drilled one sheet so far. If I'd done all the sheets, it would have been a disaster and we'd have regretted it. So I re-drilled at 7.5 and now I can set my rivet, you see, between the middle of the tube and the edge. I'm going to drill the edge of the sheet at 7.5 for the tubes that are 30. The other tubes are 40, so I drill at 20 millimeters. It's fine. There's only one sheet, well, only one side of the sheet that's drilled. No problem, it's for me on the street side. I need to seal the tube to the sheet. I'll use sealant on the house side. We'll sand it, and once painted, it won't be visible. If this were for a client, I'd have to explain it to him. With steel prices as they are, a demanding client insisting on changing the sheet would really hurt. But well, it's my own fault. You have to stay focused on what you're doing, and at least that way, you don't make mistakes. The gate is nearly done. I have one last thing to do but need to get it. I need 30mm angle iron. This here is 50mm angle iron just to show you. I'm going to attach it to the right post, so right side is the house side, left side is the street side, since that's the one that closes last, and it will press against the other one. Another benefit is you won't be able to see between the posts anymore, since you can currently see through the middle. In the next video, I'll do that using rivet nuts instead of welding. So the angle iron sits inside the gate tube. I'll film everything so you can see how I use a rivet nut. Since it's summer, the gate closes well, but in winter it may expand a bit, so I'll be able to adjust the angle iron. That's the benefit. We'll see that in the next video. I've covered it completely for now and will film it for you since the weather is unpredictable, sometimes nice, sometimes rainy. I don't want it to rust and have to strip it later. So I'm covering it, and then like I said, we'll uncover it, put the angle iron in place and paint it. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. We'll uncover this gate, put in that famous angle iron so the bars close properly, and we'll paint this gate. If the weather is calm, I'll use the spray gun. If it's windy, we'll use a roller. We'll apply a primer coat with orange minium, and the finishing coat will be ash grey, a solvent-based paint from Zolpen. So why use orange as a primer? It's so we can easily see the difference between the primer and finishing coats. If I used light grey with ash grey, they would look too similar. And besides, I think orange as a primer is fun. At least for a few days I would have had an orange gate, which is fun. And some of you may have noticed, since I'm talking about painting, I repainted the motor covers. So they were originally light grey, but over time they turned yellow. I completely washed them, sanded them, and lightly wiped them with acetone, because acetone eats away at plastic, so you have to be careful. I spray painted them anthracite grey and added a layer of varnish. I'll explain all of that in the next video. Take care, leave a comment, give a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and see you next video.